If you've watched any of my Battlerite content, you've surely been as curious as I have about what Stunlock Studios have been working on since they stepped away from Battlerite. What is Project M, we wondered. Some of us thought that the Tencent investment into SLS and the fact that the working title was M meant that this would be some sort of mobile game, but little did you know, SLS was hiding the real title in plain sight all along. V Rising is SLS's upcoming multiplayer vampire survival experience. Let's be real, no one saw that one coming. So what is V Rising? Well, we don't know very much as of now, but here is what we do know. We play as a weakened vampire who wakes up after a long slumber in a world where humans have overthrown the once mighty vampire empire. Whether we do it solo or together with friends, our goal is to rise up and rebuild an empire while surviving the dangers of supernatural beasts, the sunlight, and the humans who are now on top of the food chain, I guess. We will also be able to fight other players to rise through the vampire ranks. So this game can be played single player, co-op, and has some sort of PvP in it. And before you ask, yes, the game uses WASD for movement and skill shots for attacks, true to the SLS style of gameplay. Before I get into why I'm actually really excited to see what this game turns out to be, let's quickly address what it isn't. This game is not a new take on an arena PvP kind of game that I know a lot of people in the Battlerite community were hoping for. And I understand if some of you feel disappointed about that. I mean, Battlerite is by far the best PvP experience I've ever had. I fell head over heels in love with the game and its esports scene, and have some of my fondest memories in gaming thanks to Battlerite. I do, however, think that it's a good thing that SLS aren't releasing their next take on the same kind of game that Battlerite was. For two reasons. One is that they had to step away from the game because it wasn't a financially sustainable project for the studio. If you make the tough decision to walk away from Battlerite, it wouldn't make sense to come back and pretty much try to do the same thing again. The other reason is community perception. None of us were particularly happy when we heard that SLS were leaving Battlerite to work on their next project. Imagine them coming back with the same kind of game, selling an early access version, selling skins for new champions in a new game, creating champions and maps in that instead of the game that we've already put our time and money into. That probably wouldn't go over very well. At the same time, Battlerite wasn't just extremely good at what it did, it was also kind of the only game of its kind at the time, and it left a big void. So I understand that people out there are waiting for something to come and fill that void. I am too. I just don't think it would have been a smart move for SLS to do that now. Maybe they can do that in their next project. And besides, there are other studios out there working on games that very well may do that. So from the perspective of SLS, making something completely different only makes sense, and I remember thinking that as soon as they said that they were working on another project. Anyway, let's steer the conversation back to V Rising, and what about it that has me excited? It will be very fun to see what you are all excited about from the things we've seen so far, so let me know in the comments. So the first thing that excites me is, well, what we kind of just talked about. It is without a doubt very interesting. I think SLS has a proven record of making really good games, so naturally it's exciting that they're creating not only a brand new IP, but one that seems to be quite different from anything they've done before. I also think that it's a very interesting take on a vampire story. We've seen a lot of vampire stories over the years, with vampires in huge variety of settings. Some openly terrorize the area they're in, some are hiding in plain sight, some are good guys and just want to prove to the girl how good they are, while some just want to play beer pong and learn how to drive and kiss a cheerleader or whatever it is that high school kids do. One thing that all these have in common though is that unless the vampire chooses to be kind to the other creatures around it, it is the most dangerous thing imaginable. In V Rising, we play a survival game as a vampire, where the creatures and the world around us are dangerous. They seem to have created a world where the relationship between humans and vampires has been turned on its head, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with that. The next thing that excites me is the base building aspect of the game. The things we know about this are the following. We'll have our castle that will most likely be able to build out, seeing as build is one of the 3 words in the game's slogan. We'll be able to turn humans into loyal servants, and we'll be able to attack other players' castles, and other players will be able to attack our bars, and that's kind of it. So what's this thing going to be like? Are we actually going to be able to build in the game, like in Valheim or Don't Starve Together? Or will the castle work more as a upgradable hub world, like in Darkest Dungeon or Heroes of Might and Magic? And how will it work when we play this game with friends? Will we both have our own castles, and do we play together when we're outside of the castles? Or will we have a castle together? It's not really the things that we know about the castle that makes me excited, it's all the things that it could be. And finally, we have to take a moment to talk about the PvP in this game. Considering Stunlock's very strong past in PvP games and the fact that this game will be played with WASD and skill shot makes you wonder, what's the attacking other players and their castles going to look like? Will there be perhaps a PvP section of the game where we'll be able to fight other players in a way not too unlike the gameplay in Battlerite? And if so, how big will this part of the game be? Could it be possible for players to focus almost exclusively on PvP and not bother so much with the survival aspect of the game? Could there be an arcade-like game mode where you just fight other players? Once again, we don't know, but I guess it's exactly that makes this period so interesting. The questions, the speculations, the anticipation and expectations. We're still waiting to see actual gameplay footage and the closed beta, so until we have those, it's easy to just let our imagination run wild when it comes to what this game could be. Regardless of exactly how these different things turn out, the little we do know definitely has me excited, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it. I hope you've also signed up for the closed beta. If you haven't yet, there's a link to the sign up in the description box below. If you like this video and would like to like it some more, you can always click the like button, and do subscribe to the channel for more videos on V-Rising and Baldur's Gate 3. Not a bad combination of games, if I might say so myself. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, thank you. Croak. What? No, I went the wrong way. I are the wrong way. Fuck. No one saw that. Tell me no one saw my R.